better start leveling up your boxing IQ before punches start lowering your actual IQ. In this video I will give you time-proven methods that will make you a smarter boxer so you can start winning fights like chess matches against toddlers. Let's get straight into that. And first up we got practical training methods that will boost your fighting IQ every time you hit the gym. And the first one will be sparring with goals. So often in boxing gyms coaches will tell like get your gloves on and go in the ring and spar, and you will just try to hit and don't get hit. Yes, this way you will get better over time, but if you do it like consciously and with task, you will develop much faster. And let me give you an example. Let's say today we decided to practice our lead hand. So in the first round we will go only for the jabs, you and your opponent. So you will understand that you can not only throw like the basic jab, but you can throw it off different angles, moving your head to the side, like keeping it down and then go up. You can play around with your fist rotation, and then you'll also have to defend the same punch. You'll understand like the pattern, you'll understand the timing for it and the trajectory. So you'll then be able to counter it when you see those things. And you already got better because now you understand how to work with this punch and your reaction now is automatic. Then you can build up on that. Let's say now we add hooks and uppercuts. So this way you will be able to attack from different angles, from different positions with different type of movement. Then let's say in the next round we'll add our rear hand, and this is like a much more powerful hand, but it's slower. So this way you'll learn to use your lead hand for a setup. So you'll play out with the jab, you'll like do different feints, and then when you see an opening, you'll be able to land that big right hand. And like you see, I just gave you a whole workout to master your lead hand, and all that together will make you a smarter fighter because you'll have to focus on one sole thing, which is your lead hand, and you can do that for every aspect of the game. The second tip is to spar with better people. I understand that sometimes you go to a gym, you are tired and you don't want to like push yourself really hard, but that's exactly the time when you have to talk to your inner and say, okay, today I don't want to do it, but I'll do it anyway because I want to be better. And when you have to select your partner, try to go to a more experienced guy who you know would you up in a real fight, and yeah, you ask them, do you want to spar? Yeah, he like agrees, and then you just, if you're afraid that they may beat you up too hard, you just say that okay, don't go too hard and yeah, let me practice. And it is very similar to playing a computer game. Let's say you play on a very hard mode in a game and then you just go to a basic mode and you completely smoke it. So it works the same way in boxing. The third tip is to drill counters to common moves. What is the most common boxing move? Of course, is the jab. So start with this. Let's say ideally you want to practice with a partner. If you don't have a partner, you can work with a padman. If you don't have anyone, just go to a heavy bag or shadow boxing. But you'll have to visualize the jab. So how do you counter a jab? That's right, any way you want. So you can use your head movement, you can use your footwork for defense, you can use your hands and then counter. You can counter it simultaneously and you can counter it with pretty much every single punch. So you just practice that. Then like let's say what's the most common combination in boxing? That's right, jab, cross. Now you can like visualize someone throwing it at you. I can do like a block and then simultaneously counter their cross. Or I can do a pullback, slip and go to deliver. Or I can do like a step back, side step, like overhand. And I just took all of those things on the top of my hand, but you can dig deeper and think like of different ways, different things that you may get hit with sometimes, and you just drill it out. The fourth tip is to learn from different styles. And yeah, it goes for partner selection in your gym once again. So let's say you see a bunch of guys and you know this one is your friend and you always have a great time working with him. But yeah, once you learn each other, you won't grow too much because let's say you already know all his moves. Then just try to go to another person, maybe to someone shorter but more powerful, or vice versa, someone light-handed but taller. And yeah, this way you'll learn different styles and you'll learn to adapt to different styles. And if you have like only one person to practice it, you can play role games. You know what I mean, right? And what I mean is that yeah, let's say today you want to work against a pressure fighter. So your friend is, let's say, an out fighter, but you ask him, okay, try to act a role of a pressure fighter and I'll be out fighting you today. And then you just switch roles and you'll be able to practice like different scenarios. And if you don't have like anyone to practice with, you can once again visualize scenarios in your head, or you can go to my virtual sparrings where I like imitate different styles and I'll give you tips how to beat those styles. The fifth tip is to work on reading your opponent and understanding patterns. So it may sound obvious that I want you to pay attention and focus on your opponent in the ring, but you sometimes get too overwhelmed and you overthink about surviving in the ring that you stop like strategizing as the fight goes on. But I want you to take a hold of yourself, cool down your mind, and yeah, start noticing things. Let's say you feint to the body, he drops his hand. Your next move is like throw jab to the body a few times and then go with the hook up top. Start paying attention and recognize patterns in your opponents, and that will help you to succeed a lot. The sixth tip is to experiment and adapt. Let's say you scrolled through Instagram and you saw a pro fighter using some interesting move and now you want to try it. But you are afraid that you will get hit in the sparring and your coach will yell at you for that and he will shame you. So what you can do is to try that in shadowboxing at home, for example. So you can practice it slowly, you study the move, you just get a feeling of that. Then you try that with impact, just hit heavy back this way. Then you can ask a friend to practice it slowly with them. Then you like try it with someone so you can feel the distance, you can feel the timing and the rhythm. Then you go to a sparring and you try it. But of course you fail and you get hit and your coach tells you not to do that. You just make your analysis, add some adjustments and you go on and practice that the next time. And you get hit again, but this time with a little less power and yeah, it didn't hurt you. Then you do it again, you make adjustments and try it. And then you succeed. Maybe you just slightly touched your opponent. Next time you try it, you hit them with full power and yeah, it's a massive success. Now you have this like tool in your arsenal. Then you keep refining it and it becomes your signature move and you knock people out with it. Then the seventh tip is to try to teach someone. Let's say you have a friend and he wants to start boxing. So even if you don't have like a lot of experience and you've been doing boxing like for a year or so, you can still try to explain them the basics. And when you will try to explain it, let's say they ask, how do I throw the jab? And yeah, this question pops up. You show them like this way, but then you start thinking, okay, I can throw it in other ways too. So I can move my head, I can like rotate my fist, I can step in or I can not step in. Then you feel like, okay, there are like different jab variations and you start explaining it to them. Then you start like explaining how you generate power, so you have to push yourself from the back foot. And yeah, this way you'll understand mechanics in a completely different way and it will boost your fighting IQ through a roof. The eighth tip is to work with purpose. So often people think about their own stuff, let's say what they will eat for dinner, while practicing boxing. Of course, this way they will get slightly better with each session because repetition is key, but of course that would be best if they imagined what they are doing like in a real fight. Let's say I imagine an opponent while I'm shadow boxing. Then I imagine like my timing, I imagine openings, I imagine exit. So let's say I like imagine how I get closer to my opponent, then I hit them and I have to exit, because if I just walk, throw punch, I walk, I throw punch, that will be less productive. So I want you to focus and be mindful every time you start boxing. So far in the video we passed the practical phase about the stuff that you can go and do in the gym, and we're moving to studying and theory, which can also be very helpful. So the first tip is to talk about boxing, and I want you to talk about different concepts, different fights, different style breakdowns and all that sweet science. Who you can talk to is of course your coach, because it's your teacher, you trust them and most likely they are getting paid to teach you. So yeah, don't be shy and always ask them a bunch of questions. Then let's say you got in a sparring with a more experienced guy and they hit you clean a few times, and then you just go to them and ask, okay, where did you see openings? What are my mistakes? They tell you and then you just fix it. Or you can even talk to ChatGPT or some other AI. Sometimes it can give you a pile of yeah, I'm being honest, but if you go in specifics, you ask good questions, it will give you pretty good answers and it can walk you through different scenarios, give you good breakdowns and strategies. But if AI doesn't make sense, your coach and partners aren't talkative, don't worry, because I got you covered. I have a group chat with boxers of different levels, from beginner to advanced, and there are also a lot of coaches. In this group chat we share our experience, we share helpful materials, give each other critique for video training materials, and answer questions, of course. This community is inside of the KO boxing package, which has a lot of boxing sessions, weightlifting plan, running workouts, a lot of tips on top of the community. So if you want to level up your boxing game, get the KO boxing package, first link in the description. Then the second tip in studying and theory is to watch fights with intention. So I understand that sometimes you want just to sit back and spectate a great, emotional, intense fight, but you better watch it with intention, because you can gain a lot from perspective of boxing science. So try just to pay attention how fighters move, why they move this way. Pay attention to their strategy for a fight as a whole, then pay attention to their tactics, pay attention to smaller details like why they did this feint, why they landed this punch. Pay attention to their mistakes, why this fighter got hit with this, and then break it down and try to adapt their skill set into your own game and boost your own performance. The third tip is to film and review your own shadow boxing, bag work, and sparring. Of course, watching others and learning from them is great, but you can always learn from yourself. Just see your mistakes, understand what you can do better, and seeing yourself from another angle will help you a lot. For example, I make a bunch of videos, and ever since I started, I fixed so many mistakes and I improved my own game. The fourth tip is to study boxing history and styles. Let's say you are from Mexico and your style is high guard, you are very versatile, you are very aggressive, and you fight mostly at the middle to close distance. But then you pay attention to how people fight in Eastern Europe, and it's completely different style of boxing. And what you can do is to learn it, try a few techniques, and adapt them into your own game, and then you will become a more versatile and hybrid fighter. Also, you can go back in time and take a look how professional American fighters fought in 80s, and you will notice that the fighting style was different. They maybe were less technical, but what they had is mental power, and they were much tougher. Then you can review their training footage and integrate a few training methods into your game, and it will make you tougher from mental and physical point. And learning boxing world like that will make you a more well-rounded overall fighter. The fifth tip is to take notes after every single session, and you can be a nerd about it, and you can actually write them down in your notebook, study it, and then do your adjustments. Or what I do better is to take mental notes. So last Friday I was practicing in sparring with a southpaw guy. So I hit him with a clean overhand. I had a perfect setup, so I threw a few jabs to the body, then I faked it and hit that clean overhand. But he countered me with his right hook right into my nose, and that hurt. I didn't like that. And now I'm thinking, how could I avoid that? Because I moved my head over the center line, I kept this hand up, I did everything almost perfectly. Now I have an idea. Next time I will face him, I will throw jab right into his forearm instead of faking it. So I will press his hand and he won't be able to hit me with the proper timing. I will hit his forearm and then go with the same overhand. And I bet that it will land. So I will let you know how that goes. The next tip is to learn different boxing theories. So you may not know, but there are a bunch of different theoretical stuff in boxing. Let's say three-phase attack theory. It's a very basic one. So you have to enter the fighting range, then you actually throw punches, and then you have to exit not to get hit. And then you got the lane theory. It's about understanding positions of your body in relation to your opponent. So from every position in boxing stance, I can effectively throw only a few punches. Effectively, I mean fast and hard and without a high risk. For example, I do a slip to my right from your jab, and ideal punch for me will be cross. But from this position, throwing the lead uppercut will be very awkward and weird. And once you understand those positions, you adjust your punch selection, and you can also predict their punches, understanding your position and position of your opponent. And I learned this from Bambara boxing, so shout out to that coach, he is great. The next tip is to visualize different scenarios. So just mentally, for example, you have to walk to your gym 20 minutes. Now you can imagine who you will spar today, and you can like imagine them in front of you and work with them, so you know they are taller. Then you may start thinking about throwing body shots, and you can come up with different like setups. So you go jab to the head, then boom, jab to the body, then jab to the body, overhand, and you will prepare yourself for facing that specific person. And this way you can work on every aspect of the game, and it will get you ready for not only training but for fighting. This is all I got for today. If you found this video helpful, check out this one right here, where I share the lessons about boxing I wish I knew earlier. Thanks for watching and stay sharp.